MTN News at 5.
Good evening. Welcome to the MTN News at 5 on KTGF. I'm Tom Wiley reporting from the annual Home and Garden Show. Thanks for joining us. First tonight. The Supreme Court, legislature, and Secretary of State are in another standoff, this time over whether the abortion ballot measure should be able to begin a signature gathering immediately. MTN senior political reporter Jonathan Ambarian has the latest.
For weeks, a proposed constitutional amendment on abortion access has been caught up in court actions and legal disputes, and that hasn't changed over the past few days. The measure, informally called Ballot Issue 14, is backed by groups like Planned Parenthood Advocates of Montana and would specifically add a right to abortion to the Montana Constitution. Earlier this week, the Montana Supreme Court finalized ballot language for the measure. Ordinarily, a proposed initiative would then go to a state legislative committee, which would vote on whether to support it or oppose it before it went out for signature gathering. But in a footnote in their decision, Supreme Court Justice Ingrid Gustafson said state law only says a legislative review is required after the Attorney General rules the measure is legally sufficient. In this case, Attorney General Austin Knudsen said Ballot Issue 14 wasn't, but the Supreme Court overruled him. Justices then ordered the Secretary of State needed to give the sponsors a petition form approved to start collecting signatures. Meanwhile, state legislative Republicans argued the legislature still needed to have a say on the initiative. Senate President Jason Ellsworth sent the Secretary of State a legislative subpoena demanding records on Ballot Issue 14 so a committee could consider it. On Friday, the Secretary of State's office said it had complied with both the court's order and the subpoena. The sponsors of Ballot Issue 14 received a petition form, which included a note from the Secretary stating it didn't go through the standard review process. The legislature set an interim meeting to review the measure for April 18th. The measure's backers say they believe signature gathering is close, despite what they called an unnecessarily complicated process. The Attorney General's office says the court's order was without jurisdiction, and it's created unnecessary conflict and uncertainty. In December, a legislative committee did review a proposed initiative to create a top 4 primary election, which was also rejected by Knudsen but allowed to move forward by the Supreme Court. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
A $50,000 grant was awarded to the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes for tribal tourism. The Montana Department of Commerce gave the grant, and the money will be used for repairs and upgrades to waterfront vacation rental property, the Bison on Flathead Lake. The Tribal Tourism Grant Program runs on a reimbursement system where the tribe is required to match the grant by 50%. Projects that are eligible must show a long-lasting investment to the tribe and state, as well as being construction ready. Chilly temperatures and lots of precipitation this weekend. Time now for a check of our forecast with meteorologist Curtis Brevenitz.
All right, good afternoon, everybody, and not the very nicest of days that we've ever seen here with low clouds, cool temperatures. We had some freezing fog and freezing drizzle earlier. Well, we've got some thunderstorms that are firing. We even had a severe thunderstorm warning for a cell down there into Beaverhead County, but you can see some of these lightning strikes just to the west of Great Falls, up on the Rocky Mountain front, and to the south. And all of this will be rotating up into the state as we go through tonight. All right, something else going on. We still have the flood warning for Lodge Creek north of Havre, but a winter weather advisory, including Great Falls, including Cut Bank, including the Little Belts, the Big Belts, the Continental Divide, and a winter storm warning still for the Judith Mountains and the Big Snowy Mountains. We've got some snow that will be coming through. Fast and furious flakes here tonight, mainly after it turns dark. Might start with a little rain, may have some rumbles of thunder, and overall this weekend, soggy and sloppy, a mix of rain and snow in the lower elevations, and heavy wet snow in the mountains, and of course, the sun, the moon, and the clouds. We'll talk about the eclipse for Monday coming up.
The Montana Highway Patrol says a 56-year-old woman from Belt died in a crash Thursday morning. The MHP report says the collision involved 2 vehicles, one driven by the woman who died, the other by a 57-year-old man from Nyhart. Conditions were foggy and visibility was poor at the time of the crash. According to MHP, the man was driving west on US 89. The woman's vehicle was stopped at a sign on State Highway 331, preparing to cross the highway onto Tiger Butte Road. Because of the poor visibility, the 2 drivers were unable to see each each other, and the man was unable to stop his vehicle in time once the woman's vehicle began crossing the highway. The woman died at the scene, and her name has not yet been released. She was wearing her seatbelt, according to MHP. The man was not seriously injured. He, too, was wearing his seatbelt. MHP says speed and/or impaired driving were not factors in the crash. We'll update you as we get more information. Well, every year, civic teams and local businesses band together to make unique displays of art out of nothing but cans of food. Well, the public can vote on which display they like the best. The cans are donated to the food bank. MTN's Anissa Coomer has more on one of the most creative fundraisers in town.
The Great Falls Food Bank is having their annual Cantastic fundraising event at the Home and Garden Show. The cans from the structures go towards Backpack for Kids program to provide food to hungry Great Falls children.
Cantastic is the event where we have local civic teams around town get together and they work together with a local architect to build structures out of canned food. This is really kind of the culmination of the drive that we start back in January, and we ask the public to help support our Backpacks for Kids program, which feeds elementary school kids in our Great Falls public schools throughout the school years on weekends and holidays. So at the end of the event, obviously the cans will be collected and taken back to the food bank for our agencies to collect. This year we're thrilled to have 6 teams build the structures, and they've all done a fantastic job, and hopefully everybody can come out and see the structures because they're fantastic.
The food bank has held this fundraiser for 20 years, but this is the first year it's been held at the Home and Garden Show. Visitors are invited to purchase a vote for their favorite structure, with the team having the most votes winning the food bank's People's Choice Award.
We submitted a structure. It's the couch from Friends, the TV show. We had a lot of fun building that. It consists of about 1,400 cans of chili and 300 taco seasoning packets. So this is donated by all of our local credit unions, and then all the cans of food and the taco seasoning all goes back to the food bank. It's always fun to see what each group comes up with. There's so much creativity here, and just to see all these different groups coming together for a good cause for our food bank is awesome.
Come check out the full structures for yourself at the Home and Garden Show and visit our website to find out more.
Montana Bow Hunters Association not only preserves and promotes bow hunting, it's also involved in bow hunter education. As MTN's Tommy Lynch explains, the annual Montana Bow Hunters Association's 46th convention is underway in Great Falls.
This weekend marks the 46th annual convention and banquet for the Montana Bow Hunters Association.
It's great to socialize with a bunch of like-minded folks who are passionate about conservation of all of the great species we have here in Montana.
Every year, the Montana Bow Hunters Association gets together to celebrate the art of bow hunting. The MBA represents the 65,000 Montanans who register as bow hunters every year on a political level, helping protect bow hunting season.
There's nothing like a bull elk standing 15 yards from you, bugling, and hair on the back of your neck stands up like you wouldn't believe. It's just an incredible feeling. So to be that close to God's nature.
Bow hunting season takes place from mid-August through mid-October, and after that, rifle hunting season begins.
It's important to preserve that season, to preserve fair chase, because you are getting close to the animal. You're having that intimate kind of cat and mouse game with that animal versus shooting them with a rifle.
Along with the banquet dinner, the weekend-long convention includes seminars, displays, auctions, and Manufacturers Row, where anything and everything related to bow hunting is on sale.
You know, I absolutely love the trophy display. It is so neat seeing people's successes across the state.
While the banquet itself is sold out, the MBA urges anybody with any interest to become a member and to come and see some of the seminars taking place this weekend. In Great Falls, I'm Tommy Lynch, MTN News.
Helping Hands has recently moved into their new permanent location in the old First Lutheran Church on 2nd Avenue North.
Helping Hands was a ministry of First English Lutheran Church for over 40 years. And sadly, First English Lutheran Church closed in the late winter of 2023.
The organization provides food, clothing, shoes, and more to the community in an effort to help those in Great Falls without those resources. Now in their new location, they are even better equipped to continue their mission.
It's been a downtown icon for about 118 years, and so anytime a church closes, it's a sad thing.
We'll have the full story tonight at 10.